Hey guys, what's up? A brand new patch just dropped in the official server, and we're here to break it all down for you. Fast and simple. No long patch notes, no confusing words. Just the key changes you need to know. Let's start with the biggest highlight. A new hero in the Land of Dawn. Meet Zitian, the Celestial Empress. She's a poke-heavy mage with surprising survivability, and her passive even includes a knockback and stun when enemies get too close. Her first skill unleashes 3 Phoenix waves in a target direction. Her second skill deals damage over time on an area, all the while reducing enemies' magic defense. You can cast it again to reposition and deal extra damage. And her ultimate deals damage on all enemies in the map. If they get hit, they will be stunned. Combine all those skills and she's your perfect long-range mage with the ability to reduce the enemy's magic defense. We'll be seeing a lot more of Zitian soon, so better get familiar now before she takes over ranked games. Rafaela just got a major glow-up. And we're not just talking about healing. Her passive has been completely reworked. Rafaela can now resurrect a fallen ally during battle. Yes, you heard that right. Drag the skill on your dead ally and they're alive again. It's a clutch move that can change the outcome of late game fights, especially when timed well. Remember though, it can be cancelled, so use it on a safe place. To balance, the skill has a long cooldown that scales with a hero's resurrection timer. So try her out now and resurrect your feeding teammates. Now let's talk about the jungle changes. This patch slightly slows down the early game tempo for junglers, especially in high rank and pro play, where they tend to snowball a bit too fast. The goal here is to balance jungle clearing across different heroes. So the ones who clear too fast, well, they're getting toned down. Meanwhile, the slower junglers are getting a little help. First, the jungle buffs now spawn at 25 seconds instead of 20. That means slower start and more time to plan early movement. Next, the crab respawn time is now faster, from 1 minute down to 45 seconds. This gives more opportunities for gold and XP if you're paying attention. So yeah, you'll definitely want to adjust your jungle pathing with this patch. Lastly, the river current will now keep giving a movement speed boost until the turtle is taken. That means easier rotations and more pressure on objectives during the early game. Next up, we've got adjustments to the jungling speed of several heroes. Hanzo now has a longer cooldown on his skill 1. It's 5 seconds longer, which slows down his early clear. Freya's passive damage is now reduced to 75% when hitting jungle creeps, making her early jungle less explosive. Alpha is getting a similar treatment. His passive damage to jungle creeps has been lowered as well. Jawhead's passive now only deals 50% damage to jungle creeps, so expect slower rotations if you're using him in the jungle. Julian's enhanced basic attacks also got nerfed. They now only deal 75% damage to jungle creeps. On the flip side, Alucard gets a small buff. His passive now deals 10% more damage to jungle creeps, helping him clear faster. Sun's clones also got a buff. Their basic attack damage against jungle creeps is increased by 50 points, which helps speed up his jungle farming. And lastly, Saber's skill 1 now deals full damage to jungle creeps, making his clear more efficient. Now let's talk about the buffed heroes in this patch. First up, Leslie. Leslie got a bunch of improvements to make her feel more like a real sniper. Now every time she builds physical penetration, whether fixed or percentage, it will be converted to critical damage. That means she'll hit harder if you build her right. It also means Malefic Gun is now usable for Leslie. If she uses her first skill and turns invisible, there's now a short protection window. For half a second, even if she takes damage, it won't instantly break her camouflage. This gives her a better chance to sneak away or land a surprise shot. Her ultimate also got a small boost with higher critical chance as you level it up. Next, we have Ixia. Ixia's playstyle is all about chaining skills into basic attacks. To help with that, her passive now slows enemies every time it hits. That makes it easier for her to keep hitting them with basic attacks. She also heals more when she hits minions or creeps, so she can stay in fights much longer. Her first skill got tweaked as well. It gives her more movement speed now, making her faster after she hits someone. This skill is also a bit wider and quicker to cast. However, it no longer slows enemies by itself. The effect is now part of her passive. Now for the big change. Her basic attack range was a little too long, so they made it just a bit shorter to keep things fair. Her ultimate also feels smoother now. They they improved how her first and second skills auto-aim while her ultimate is active. Plus the cooldown is much shorter, so you'll be able to use it more often. So yeah, big buff for Ixia this season. Moving on to Bruno. Bruno got some nice upgrades to make him easier to play. His passive now stacks faster. Each stack gives him a bit more crit chance, and he needs fewer stacks to reach max power. Also, his first skill now costs less mana, which means you can use it more often. Next is Nathan. His first skill now has a shorter cooldown in the later stages of the game. That's a minus 1 second of cooldown, allowing him to collect stacks easier. Now let's talk about Roger. Roger hasn't been doing too well lately, so he's getting some help, especially in his human form. His basic attacks are smoother now. Before, there was a short delay after each hit, but that's been removed. It makes him feel quicker and more responsive. His first skill in human form also got faster. Both the starting and ending animations were shortened, so the skill comes out quicker and lets you act faster right after using it. And his ultimate, which lets him switch forms, now has a shorter cooldown at the start of the game, so you can transform more often when you need it. Next up is Selkurt, and he's getting stronger, especially in the mid to late game. Even though his base attack growth got slightly reduced, his skills make up for it. His first skill now reveals where terrified enemies are. His second skill is stronger as well. It deals more damage if you build attack items, and it now prioritizes terrified enemies first, making your combos land better and feel smoother. So basically, you can now auto-aim with your second skill. And for his ultimate, there's no more delay. As soon as you use it, enemy vision shrinks instantly. This makes his surprise attacks even scarier. Now on to Lancelot. His first skill got a little change to make him hit harder early on. It now deals more damage, especially at lower levels. And the mark it applies doesn't last as long, from 5 seconds down to 3. That means you don't have to wait long before you can dash again on the same enemy. So good news for Lancelot players. Now let's check in on Gusion. His second skill now has a shorter cooldown across all levels, allowing you to use it more often. His ultimate also comes back faster with a minus 4 seconds on all levels. That's kinda big if you ask me. And there's more. The distance and speed from his second dash of his ultimate are increased. That means better escapes and smoother combos. Lilia used to need too many perfect conditions to deal high damage. Now it's easier for her to be effective. Her second skill, which is the one where she drops bombs, has been improved a lot. The cooldown is now the same no matter what level you are, just 6 seconds. That means you can keep using it at a steady pace throughout the whole game. It also uses less mana, especially at early levels. And the damage, it got a pretty big boost. It now scales better with her magic power, so her bombs can hit harder. And now, her glooms don't need to be maxed out to help with cooldown. As long as you hit an enemy hero, you'll recover 20% of the recharge time right away. Now for Kadita. Kadita's combo timing just got a lot smoother. She now walks a bit faster by default, making it easier to position yourself in fights. Her first skill was also adjusted so it moves slightly slower, giving you more control when diving in and out. Her second skill, the one that knocks people up, now happens quicker. Less delay before enemies go flying. That means faster combos and less chance for enemies to escape. The biggest change is her ultimate. Now the only thing that can stop her while casting it is a suppression. That means it's a lot harder for enemies to interrupt her once she starts. It's a big buff for our Kadita players. Now on to Kagura. Kagura is a tricky hero who needs good timing to shine. These changes are meant to help her do just that. Her passive now gives her a stronger shield when she uses her umbrella. It scales better with magic power, so she's a bit tankier during fights. Her second skill now grants a brief crowd control immunity when removing buffs. That means she can dodge stuns more easily while slipping out of danger. Next is Lunox. Lunox didn't have much flexibility before when she was in her chaos state. She had to wait for it to end before switching over to the other side. Now if you're in chaos mode and you Starlight Pulse, it'll end the chaos state right away. This lets you switch to order form and use her ultimate without waiting, opening up more combo options during battle. As you can see, both skills share the same cooldown when in chaos state. It's a small change, but it gives Lunox more freedom to mix up her combos. Now let's check in on Odette. Odette got a few small upgrades to make her feel smoother and easier to play. Her first skill and ultimate now use less mana at all levels, so you won't run dry too quickly in fights. Her second skill casts faster now, and they remove the short pause afterward. That means she can follow up more easily or reposition faster. It's not a huge rework, but a smoother combo and cheaper skills are still a nice win, right? Next is Yuzong. His passive now heals him more efficiently based on his lost HP. Also, his ultimate gives him way more bonus HP now. So when he transforms into that big dragon, he's a lot tankier and harder to bring down. Now for Mincetor. He's been adjusted to feel more like a real frontliner, a proper fighter who can stay in the middle of the action. His passive got buffed. It now deals more damage and gives him better healing during fights, so he's tougher to take down. The biggest change is on his second skill. The cooldown is now super short, just 4 seconds. That means he can spam it way more often, making his trades feel more consistent. Also, both his first and second skills now scale less with pure attack items. In other words, you don't have to go full damage build anymore. Even with some defense items, he can still dish out solid damage while being much harder to kill. Next is X-Board. They made his ultimate much better, especially in team fights. Before, it would spin around 7 times, but now it spins 14 times. That means more hits, more chances to deal damage, and a bigger impact if you landed perfectly. There's also a cool new effect. During his ultimate, he doesn't absorb Firaga supplies right away. Instead, all the nearby orbs get picked up after the ult ends, which gives him a burst of healing or armor when it's over. Perfect for diving into big fights and surviving. Arlotte's playstyle relies a lot on getting in and out of fights. So to help with that, they gave him more freedom to build defense items and still feel strong. His second skill now heals more based on both his level and physical attack. But the cool part, when he hits enemies with his second skill, he now gets a brief movement speed boost. This makes it way easier for him to reposition, chase enemies, or even escape sticky situations. And there's more. His ultimate got an upgrade as well. First, it's now much harder to interrupt. Only suppression can stop it while he's casting. Second, it now has a new passive bonus. Every time you level up his ultimate, the cooldown of his passive gets shorter. So he'll be able to mark targets and chain skills more often as the game goes on. Let's talk about Uranus. Uranus now does more with his basic attacks. They deal magic damage based on his physical attack, level, and how many radiant stacks he has. This gives him a better way to deal consistent damage during fights. His first skill also got upgraded. It now deals bonus magic damage based on his radiant stacks, helping him clear lanes or duel enemies more effectively. And to simplify things, it no longer stacks damage by hitting enemies. It just deals the damage directly. Next is Lapu Lapu. He's tougher now, especially in team fights. His first skill in Great Sword stance still has the same cooldown early, but it gets faster as you level it up. And during the cast, he can only be interrupted by a suppression type of crowd control, making him almost unstoppable. His second skill now gives more consistent damage reduction. Hitting just one enemy gives him 30% damage reduction, and if he hits more, he gets even tankier. That helps him survive better even if he's against one enemy hero. Now we have Terisla. Terisla hasn't been seen much lately, so they gave him a little buff to get him back into the fight. His second skill now deals more damage to minions early on, so he can clear waves faster. His first skill also has a slightly shorter cooldown, letting him trade more often in lane. Let's move on to Paquito. Paquito struggles if he misses his combos in the late game. So now, his second skill has a slightly shorter cooldown, which helps him get back into the action faster. His ultimate also gets a shorter cooldown, so he won't be waiting too long between big punches. Now for Ruby. Ruby's spell vamp, the healing she gets from her skills, has been made stronger and more unique. Instead of staying at one fixed value, it now scales with her level. So the longer the game goes, the more she heals from her skills. They did slightly reduce her defense boost after dashing, but overall, she should feel more lifesteal heavy and tanky the longer the match lasts. Aldous is up next, and his first skill mana cost is now lower by 15 points. This makes it easier to spam and farm stacks early on. Next is Esmeralda. Her late game wasn't as strong as it used to be. To help with that, her ultimate now costs less mana and has a shorter cooldown. That means more frequent ults and better sustain in drawn-out fights. Now let's talk about the nerfed heroes. Kalia's strong early game pressure is being toned down. Her first enhanced basic attack no longer knocks enemies back. And her second enhanced hit, it now deals less base damage than before. Her first skill was also adjusted with a bit less damage. Same goes for her mobility. When she dashes into a wall and leaps away, the jump isn't as far as before. Even her ultimate slamming distance got nerfed. But honestly, I don't think it's enough to remove her out of the ban section. Next is Lucas. He has been dominating ranked games, especially in the early game. The solution? They're slowing him down a little. He now gains less resolve over time, and if he dies in Sacred Beast form, he won't keep his resolve anymore. His first skill and combo damage also got nerfed with less damage. His second skill now has a longer cooldown in the early game. But on the bright side, his ultimate now gives more resolve energy as you level up the skill. Now on to Hayabusa. He was just too deadly, especially against squishy backline heroes. And his combo wasn't that hard to pull off, but was very rewarding. So now, his passive only lets him apply one shadow mark at a time. That means players will need to be more precise with their skill timing. His ultimate got tweaked as well. The base damage is lower now, but the extra damage you get from using the marks are higher. It's still strong, but now it rewards more to those who actually place marks on their targets. Next is Kimi. Her ultimate was too good at starting fights from far away, so they're dialing it back a bit. It now has a longer cooldown of 10 seconds, and its range is slightly shorter. Given how annoying Kimi is, I think that's just fair. Next is Selena. Selena's been making a big comeback, thanks to her faster arrow casting. But in late game fights, it became too overwhelming. So her ultimate now has a longer cooldown, especially in the later stages of the game. But as a little trade-off, she now gains 40 magic power when leveling up the skill. So magic damage in exchange for arrow frequency. Definitely a nerf if you ask me. Next is Fanny. Her energy system was a bit off, and her mobility didn't quite match her energy use. So the developers made some changes. Her first skill and ultimate now cost less energy, but in exchange, her second skill, which she uses for mobility, now costs more energy. This means players will have to manage their cables more carefully instead of spamming them freely. Next is Zushin. Her second skill used to reveal full vision of a bush, which gave too much free info. That's changed. Now, it only reveals heroes hit by the skill. So that means you'll need to be more careful when checking bushes. Next is Luo Yi. Her teleport ultimate was too sudden and the enemies didn't have time to react. To make things fairer, her location will now be shown while she's casting the skill. The destination stays hidden, but now you'll at least know when she's about to teleport somewhere. And finally, Chip. Just like Luo Yi, Chip's portal skill was catching enemies off guard too easily. Now it has a short startup animation before it activates, and Chip's position will be visible for a moment when he casts it. This gives enemies a quick warning and a chance to prepare. After all the nerfs, let's take a look at the heroes affected by the new Resilience update. According to the patch, Resilience is now even stronger. It can now shorten the time enemies stay airborne when they get knocked off. That's a pretty big deal, especially for heroes who rely on knockups to land their combos. So to keep things fair, some of the heroes are getting adjustments to make sure their combos still work well even with the new Resilience mechanic in play. Let's start with Barats. Barats got a bit too hard to control when he stacked too much Resilience, so the devs made some adjustments. They removed the small Resilience boost he used to get with every stack. When he's fully stacked, he still gets a big 20% Resilience boost. And to help balance it out, his defenses were slightly improved, making him even tankier overall. Next is Ling. The new Resilience system made it easier for enemies to escape after being knocked into the air. That really hurt Ling's ultimate, since it relies on catching and locking enemies down. To fix that, they added a new effect. Now, Ling's ultimate also slows enemies by 40% for 1.5 seconds. So even if they recover faster from the airborne effect, they'll still have a hard time getting away. Next is Kufra. His combo, Jump In with skill 1 then ultimate, was weakened by the Resilience update, so they gave him a little help. His first skill now recovers faster after hitting enemies. That means there's less delay before he can chain it into his ultimate or follow up with another move. And speaking of his ultimate, it can now only be stopped by suppression effects. That makes it more reliable once he starts casting it. Next is Minotaur. He also took a hit because his kit relies heavily on knocking enemies into the air. Instead of changing his skills, they made him tankier to survive longer during team fights. His armor and magic defense are both higher now, and they also scale better as the game goes on. So even if his crowd control gets countered a little, he's still built to take hits and stay in the fight. Next is Atlas. He depends on freezing enemies with his passive before diving in. But with the new resilience system, enemies weren't getting frozen as easily, so they sped things up. His passive now freezes enemies 1 second faster. This gives him a better chance of locking people down before they can dash away. Next up is Guinevere. Her famous skill 2 into ultimate combo felt weaker because the airborne effect didn't last as long, so they bumped up the airborne duration on her second skill. It now keeps enemies floating slightly longer, making it easier to land her full combo and deal the damage she's known for. Next is Vale. Vale runs into the same problem. His combo relies on lifting enemies with skill 2 before dropping the ultimate. To make it smoother again, they extended the airborne time on his second skill. It's a small change, but it gives him a better chance to time his ultimate just right. Now let's talk about the healing reduction changes. Before, anti-heal effects from items are super strong. If the enemy buys one of these, your team's healing can almost feel useless. So to make things more balanced, the devs have reduced the healing cut from items like Glowing Wand, Sea Halberd, and Dominant Size. Before, they used to reduce healing by 50%. Now, it's down to 40%. That might sound small, but it makes a big difference, especially for heroes who rely on healing or shielding. Let's start with Estus. Since healing reduction items got nerfed, Estus' healing also got adjusted to match. His first skill now heals slightly less, especially in the early game. But they've added something new. When he links to an ally, that teammate now gets extra defense, both physical and magic. So Estus is no longer just a walking heal bot. He can help protect his teammates as well. However, his ultimate healing also got trimmed. It still heals a lot, but not as much as before. The trade-off is that it now scales a bit better with magic power, especially for the continuous healing effect. He's still strong, just more balanced. Next is Matilda. Her second skill gives a shield to herself and to allies. But since the healing reduction system was reworked, her shield had to be adjusted as well. Now she'll get a little less shield, especially in the late game. It's a small change, but it makes her support play a bit more manageable for enemies to deal with. Next is Florian. Florian's ultimate used to remove all anti-heal effects from allies the moment she cast it. That was a big reason she felt impossible to deal with sometimes. They removed that part now. Instead, when she uses her ult, it gives your whole team a buff that increases how much healing they receive for a short time. It's still helpful in team fights, but not as broken as before. Up next is Angela. The shield from her ultimate got adjusted as well. It now gives less shield overall, especially in the early game. But it still scales pretty well with magic power, so it's not a total nerf. It just makes her support skills less overwhelming right out of the gate. Next is Baksha. He has a passive that reduces healing for enemies he hits. But since item-based anti-heal was lowered, his effect got lowered as well. It used to cut healing by 50%, now it's down to 40% just like the items. This keeps him in line with the new balance system. And that wraps up the official server update. This patch is packed with changes, so now's the perfect time to jump in and experiment. Try new builds, switch up your rotations, and test strategies you've never tried before. Who knows, you might just invent the next big meta. Thank you for watching, and see you in the Land of Dawn.